Hey, so I wanted to pop on and give you guys a message from Spirit. So it has been really crazy in the dream state. Let me know in the comments if you've been experiencing some really strange sensations or lucid dreams while you've been sleeping, especially the last 2 nights. And this is interesting that when during the day, we're not having so much energy coming through. So it's not like a crazy amount. But then we have it at night when we're sleeping. Remember that when this big energy is coming in through, it has a purpose, right? It's helping to release the density. It's helping to bring in more light. It's anchoring the connection of everybody on the planet. It has so many purposes to it. And they're just starting to show me, which is interesting, that how when we are not doing enough during the wake state, so when we're awake, we're not doing enough of the work. So meaning like, being heart-centered, being compassionate, showing forgiveness, creating more light and love in your life and everybody's, right? When we're not doing more of that work, which is fully required right now, they put us on what they're calling the night shift. And so when we go on to the night shift, we are doing like so much work. So this is some things you might be noticing. You might be noticing that people from your past are showing up in your dreams. So relationships that maybe weren't the best, those things are going to show up in your dreams because you're working through them now in another state, in a different conscious state, because you weren't showing up enough to do it here during the waking state, if that makes sense. And it's the first time ever Spirit said to us, they said they were calling us stubborn souls. So this is interesting because, and let me know, be honest with yourself about this, okay? Because I know we all do this. But be honest with yourself if you would consider yourself to be a stubborn soul. Now, here is the vibrational frequency of a stubborn soul. It is somebody who, when they are offered an opportunity to show up in the light, when, a circumstance presents to them for them to be compassionate and forgiving and lighthearted, they're not doing that. And when things are being shown to them about them, there is much resistance. There's just, no, I don't want to do that. No, that's not me. No, I'm right. That kind of resistance. So feel into this, really feel into this. What areas of your life do you feel like honestly, that there's still much resistance? So just as an example, let's say that you came for a reading. We sat down and we had a reading. And remember, when you come for a reading, your spirit team shows up. So they give us all of it. They don't hold things back and they don't sugarcoat it. They just give it to you because it's your shit, right? You know your shit. And let's say that they start talking to us about relationships for you, just as an example. And let's just say, because remember, all these things are just different arenas for us to ascend through, right? So let's say relationships. They bring up your relationships that you're in right now. So family dynamics, your romantic relationships, all of that. And they talk about how you're not being as kind as you need to be, or you're not being as generous as you need to be. And when they're saying this, who do you think is going to show up if you have a lot of wounds and a lot of traumas? Your ego and your pain body. Your ego and your pain body right away are going to be insulted. How dare you say this about me? How dare you say that I'm not showing up compassionately for my family, for my relationships? That's resistance. That's the resistance. Okay, so let's give another example. Let's say that they talk to us about our physical body. So the stuff we need to do for our physical body to, right? Remember, The thing about this is the physical body needs to be healthy and strong now because we're anchoring more light. A sick, diseased body cannot anchor light. So let's say spirit says to us, and remember I'm using the analogy of spirit because it's kind of kinder, but these are probably your friends and your family and your, co-workers that are saying this stuff to you that's giving you the reaction. But let's say spirit comes up and says, okay, so you need to stop drinking and stop smoking. Nicotine and alcohol are killing you. We see your liver is sick, your body is sick, you're aging way faster than you need to, and you're setting yourself up for disease. Instantly, you go into the, what? Moderation. I am not over drinking, over smoking. It's all in moderation. One drink's not going to kill me. Ego and pain body showing up, right? That's resistance. What happens is that resistance drops your frequency, right? When our frequency drops and we go into resistance like that, our spirit teams cannot communicate with us well. They don't give us guidance well, and that's because it's all about frequency. If we are lower in frequencies and they're higher in frequencies, there's a communication gap, right? That's why we're doing all of this work to rise in frequency, right? So another one. So let's talk about your relationship around money. Because that's a good one for everybody. So let's just say something comes up for you, an unexpected bill or something that you didn't think that you needed to pay, or you have to dip into your savings account, or you don't have any savings and you have to pay for something. And just the feelings that are coming up around that for you. Does it send you like instantly into victim energy? Do you feel like there's, like a pit in your stomach? Like, oh my God, why this? Why is this happening now? Why do I have to deal with this? Right? That kind of stuff, when it's coming through, Spirit's calling it resistance so that we can understand it. That resistance to all of that creates a holding pattern for those blocks. Does that make sense? Because what happens is we instantly become in resonance with the situation, which is the opposite of what we want to do. We want to rise above it, right? We want that unexpected bill to come in and that thing to come in, and we want to go, oh, okay, no problem. So universe, let's bring in some money. Let's get some money flowing so that we can take care of that. Or if it's the relationship thing, if it's, if you're not being kind enough, or you're not being heart-centered enough, or, and so what they want is they want that to go, oh, okay. So first of all, if I'm doing that to somebody else, I'm doing it to myself. So kindness to myself, compassion to myself, forgiveness to myself. When I start to bring those frequencies in again, and I'm fine-tuning them within myself, allowing them to flow, I can then allow them to flow to others. Remember, Spirit's saying right now, it always starts with us. It always starts with us. So if we're having resistance to things, if we are continuing patterns of resistance, this is the time for us to be breaking those patterns. And it starts with us. We do the shift. We do the change. We have the recognizing my thoughts around this are generating an emotion, which is then creating this experience. So, are you a stubborn soul? Do you feel like you're a stubborn soul? Or maybe you're fully into the flow right now, and you're fully into the lesson, and you're fully into, I can do this. I've got this. Thank you, God. Thank you, angels. Thank you. And you're doing it, but the people around you are not doing it. Now remember, that's not a them thing, it's an us thing. Remember, if the people around you are still doing it, because there's a resonance, there's stuff for you to grow through, stuff for you to learn through, right? We would never come here to work on our stuff on a deserted island, right? We would never come here to be like, okay, I'm going to send this, I'm going to work on the compassion and the healing and all that, and then do it by ourselves, right? We have to have all of the triggers. We have to have all of the arenas to do it in, to be able to fully expand in our consciousness. And so Spirit's saying right now, remind yourself that part of this needs to be play state, the play state. So having fun with it, the flow of it, right? So it's a little bit, again, it's like the seeing it through the lens of a child, having that perception of things. So things don't become so solidified energetically, physically, emotionally. Sending you guys huge blessings.